I shouldn't be saying this to you. In fact, by doing so, I'm breaking a silent code that most never dare to cross. Because what I'm about to reveal isn't meant for everyone. It's unsettling. It's dangerous. And once you understand it, you can never return to ignorance. We've been raised in a culture that celebrates kindness, fairness, and virtue. From childhood, we are told stories about noble leaders, about goodness always rising to the top, about honesty being rewarded. It's a comforting illusion, a story that makes life feel safe and predictable. But those who see reality without filters, like Machiavelli centuries ago, know something harsher: the world does not reward innocence. It rewards cunning. It rewards those who cloak ruthlessness in the mask of virtue. The powerful don't play fair. They don't obey the rules. They write the rules. They smile while they cut throats. They act noble while using others as pawns. Most people will never accept this because it destroys the story they need to believe. They want to think goodness naturally triumphs, that merit is always recognized, that the righteous will inherit the earth. But look around. Who actually holds power? Are they saints? Or are they predators dressed in silk, shaking hands while hiding knives? Machiavelli saw clearly: power is not handed to those who wait politely for it. It is seized by those bold enough to take it. And innocence, far from being protection, is exposure. Those who wear it as armor are usually the first to fall. This is why the powerful learn to wear two faces. They perform benevolence in public, but in private they strategize with ruthless precision. They deliver speeches about justice while arranging betrayals behind closed doors. They embrace allies while planning wars. They never show their true hand. And people believe them. They believe the smile, the handshake, the polished image. Because illusions feel safer than truths. But you are not here to feel safe. You are here to wake up. To see behind the mask. Every empire, every corporation, every dynasty, every leader, all stand on foundations of compromise, betrayal, and opportunism. This is not because every ruler is purely evil, but because survival at the top demands sacrifice. Once you realize this, you stop asking naive questions like, how do I succeed while staying completely pure? Instead, you ask, what must I give up to rise? The world doesn't reward virtue. It uses it against you. Show your innocence and you'll be exploited. Show your honesty too openly and you'll be crushed by someone who lies more effectively. True power hides behind masks. It pretends to be merciful, honest, and faithful, all while preparing the dagger. That's why Machiavelli advised rulers to master the art of appearing virtuous even when they are not. You don't have to love deception, but you must master it. Because if you refuse, someone else will deceive you, and they'll win while you're destroyed. The brutal truth is this: power does not corrupt. Power reveals. It shows who is willing to get their hands dirty, who accepts that every crown comes with blood, and who understands that every throne conceals daggers behind it. Corruption is the system. Most people think corruption is a stain, a flaw in an otherwise noble system. They think it's the exception. They imagine it as shady handshakes in dark rooms, money under the table, hidden favors. But Machiavelli knew, and history proves, corruption isn't the exception. It is the system itself. Whenever power concentrates, corruption grows around it like vines. Wealth, influence, and favors don't simply stick to power, they fuel it. Governments pass laws not to protect the people, but to protect the elites. Corporations don't merely follow regulations, they help write them. Leaders make deals behind closed doors, not because they are uniquely wicked, but because that's how the game of survival works. Naive citizens believe corruption is breaking the rules. But the powerful rewrite the rules to legalize their own corruption. What's illegal for you is perfectly lawful for them. They don't cheat the system. They are the system. And that's why every empire eventually decays from within. Power attracts ambition. Ambition demands reward. And the longer a ruler sits on the throne, the more they twist the system to guard themselves and their allies. It is no coincidence that politicians leave office richer than they entered. Or that regulators end up in cushy jobs at the very companies they once supervised. Or that public funds somehow morph into private fortunes. That isn't corruption gone wrong. That's corruption doing exactly what it was designed to do. The sharpest leaders know this. They don't try to eliminate corruption. They organize it. They control it. They decide who profits and who gets punished. They ensure no rival ever grows powerful enough to threaten them. They don't stop the rot. They direct it. And if you want to rise, you must abandon the fantasy of clean hands. If you climb high enough, compromises are inevitable. You will sacrifice principles to survive. And then, like all rulers before you, you will justify it. The greatest trick the powerful ever pulled was convincing people that corruption is rare, a rare infection in an otherwise healthy body. But when someone is punished for corruption, it isn't because they broke the rules. It's because they were careless enough to get caught. Information is power. Another lie people believe is that truth flows freely. That information spreads naturally, balancing the scales. But history laughs at this belief. Truth has always belonged to the powerful. And they decide who gets to know what. Centuries ago, kings controlled kingdoms with swords, yes, but also with spies and messengers. They knew who was plotting, who was loyal, who was sharpening knives in secret. Knowledge was hoarded, not shared. And leaks were never accidents. They were calculated moves. Fast forward to today. The tools have changed, but the principle hasn't. Politicians speak of transparency. Corporations promise accountability. But they only reveal what they want you to see. A press conference shows you the carefully prepared mask. A financial report shows numbers designed to tell a story. Everything else is hidden, buried, classified. Meanwhile, they collect oceans of data about you. Every click, every search, every purchase. Not for your safety, but for their control. They want to predict you, shape you, and if necessary, weaponize your own behavior against you. And what do you know about them? Only what they choose to display. Polished speeches. Stage-managed scandals. Carefully lit photographs. What you don't see are the conversations in locked rooms, the deals sealed with whispers, the skeletons locked away. The most effective leaders in history understood this principle. Augustus Caesar knew everything about his rivals but kept his intentions hidden. Venice's merchants guarded trade secrets like weapons, destroying anyone who tried to expose them. Modern intelligence agencies have toppled governments not with armies, but with information. Lies are powerful. But silence is stronger. When you control what people don't know, you don't even need to lie. You just bury the facts that would ruin you, and let your rivals fight in the dark. This is why whistleblowers are hunted. This is why leaks are punished. And this is why most of what the public sees is a performance. Because when you control the flow of information, you don't just shape opinion, you shape reality itself. History belongs to the victors. People think history is objective, carved in stone. They believe the past is fixed. But Machiavelli knew better. History is written by whoever survives. The same act can be called heroism or tyranny depending entirely on the outcome. A ruler who loses is branded a monster. A ruler who wins is celebrated as a visionary. Caesar overthrew Rome's republic with violence, but because he won, Rome called him a savior. Napoleon crowned himself emperor, praised as a genius until he fell, when his enemies rewrote him into a villain. This is the secret: power doesn't just control the present. It rewrites the past. Losers are erased from memory. Victors carve monuments, hire historians, and fund libraries to make sure their version of events becomes the only version. That's why rulers fear erasure more than death itself. To lose power isn't just to lose the throne. It's to lose your story. To see your victories vanish and your name twisted into a curse. Cruelty becomes necessity. Betrayal becomes strategy. Conquest becomes civilization. What was once a crime becomes wisdom, if the victor survives long enough to rewrite the record. Chaos creates opportunity. People fear chaos. They fear the collapse of governments, protests in the streets, markets in free fall. To most, chaos feels like the end of the world. But to those hungry for power, chaos is a ladder. Stability locks power in place. The rules are fixed, the hierarchy secure, the elites determined to keep you in your cage. In times of peace, ambition is punished. The bold are told to wait their turn, and their turn never comes. But chaos breaks the system. When the old order crumbles, nobody cares whether you're allowed to take power. They only care if you're strong enough to hold it. In a year of turmoil, the ruthless can rise further than they ever could in decades of peace. History proves it. Revolutions reward the bold, not the patient. When the Roman Republic fell into civil war, Caesar seized power while cautious senators hesitated. When 20th century Europe burned, unknown men became dictators overnight simply because they acted while others froze. Chaos is dangerous, yes. Many fall trying to climb through it. But those who succeed rise fast. And once you reach the top, you shift strategy. Now chaos becomes your enemy. Now you need stability to cement your rule. You pass laws, censor rivals, tighten borders. You build cages, not for yourself, but for those who would challenge you. This is the rhythm of power, chaos to climb, stability to rule. Fear outlasts loyalty. Finally, people like to think loyalty sustains power. That if you treat people well, they'll remain by your side. But history reveals something colder: loyalty fades. Fear endures. Love is fickle. People cheer when you're strong, but abandon you the moment you falter. Fear doesn't depend on mood. Fear is steady. Fear makes people think twice before betraying you. This doesn't mean terrorizing everyone recklessly. Too much fear breeds desperation. But just enough fear ensures hesitation. A single ruthless example whispers louder than years of kindness. People forget favors. They never forget consequences. That's why Machiavelli advised, it's ideal to be loved and feared. But if you must choose, fear is safer. Because when the end comes, and it always does, those who loved you will vanish. Those who feared you will keep their distance, not out of affection, but out of memory. The final lesson. Power is not noble. It is not fair. It is not clean. It is survival. And now that you see it clearly, you have a choice. You can close your eyes again and return to the comforting lie, that the good always win because they're good. Or you can stay awake, learn the rules as they really are, and stop playing the role of a pawn. Because once you understand these dark truths, you stop being controlled. You start thinking like a player.